And I was like, that is amazing. Those are the people who I know just instinctively are going to do better in this industry because they are willing to take feedback and they're not caught up in the feedback is their ego.
So I want to go to a little bit back to content creation.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about the pros and cons of doing so.
Okay. Do you have any suggested pros and cons, or am I coming up with pros and cons of being a content creator?
I'd like to
Oh,
hear what's worked well for you and maybe not so well for you.
that's a tough one. Okay. So I will say that it doesn't matter what direction you choose to go in content creation, you've got to give it enough time to see if it's actually worth the effort. I started a YouTube channel a couple of years ago and I just knew that I enjoy video content. I watch lots of it myself. There's different types of videos that I really enjoy. There's a couple of creators that I just you could captivate my attention for hours at a time if I allowed it to just autoplay. And I wanted to create content similar to that. So I've been taking classes. I took a class on Skillshare from Marcus Brownlee, of all people. He's got an amazing YouTube channel. He's been reviewing products, tech products for years and years and years. And now he's one of the most well known creators, I mean, at least in my world, for anything tech related. And he's also a genuinely cool person, it seems. So I took a class of his on Skillshare just for how do I plan out a video? It used to be turn it on, one shot, and hopefully I didn't screw it up. And I have found various tools over the years to help edit some of that down. Quality was trash when I first started, and I got better and better and better. And I invested in a little bit more equipment like this light that I love so much and started to find myself. I think it is. It's more like I grew up into where I like to be. So I first started, actually, I started practicing by reading someone else's content. I actually started my YouTube channel by reading Letters from an American by Heather Cox Richardson, the daily newsletter, because it was something that I read consistently. I really liked the message of, and it was short enough that I could get the practice of being comfortable on screen. So I wasn't even using my content. And it's almost similar to some of the reaction videos that you might see, except I wasn't just passively watching and laughing whenever something happened. I was reading it out loud. I've deleted them since then because I stumbled over my tongue a lot. And she also created her own podcast. Finally, we actually get to listen to it, which is wonderful. So it was a really good experience for me. And I built up I think that was where I got my first 40 viewers on YouTube who have probably since unsubscribed because they're like, this isn't at all what we signed up for. And now one of the things that I'm loving is the early career designer portfolio review. It is very much similar, but I am talking through kind of almost a cognitive walkthrough as I look through an early career designer's portfolio. And because it's me, I am relentlessly positive, even if it's like, wow, this is not to the level that we would expect for you to reach junior designer at Netflix or something, because every company is looking for something different. So what got somebody a job at Netflix and Google is not going to be the same that gets you a job at some small company you've never heard of. So I just try to give thoughtful, meaningful feedback about, hey, you've got some spacing issues. You got a lot of misspellings, and people really notice that kind of thing. You're using the same images that you didn't edit. So you've got a lot of text in the image, which makes it not very accessible. So what I am able to do over time is kind of give them context from all these other portfolio reviews that I've done. And I'm hoping I've gotten good feedback from it. I'm hoping, though, that it helps people improve. Whether or not they find it, that's not my problem.
Are you finding that your advice is being taken or do you even know?
Some people do come back and say, I am making changes. In fact, one person I reviewed just a couple weeks ago, I had mentioned something really specific on their portfolio and was trying to show it to another mentee. And they had already made the change on their portfolio. And I was like, that is amazing. Those are the people who I know just instinctively are going to do better in this industry because they are willing to take feedback and they're not caught up in the feedback is their ego. That is something that you really have to eventually overcome. It also was a struggle for me at the beginning of my career where I would turn bright red and 1,000-degree heat coming off my skin because I'm just like, I'm so ashamed that I did it wrong the first time. You're learning. It's okay to do it wrong. There is no design emergency where like, oh no, your blue square that should have been a green square murdered 3 people. That is not the case. Everybody chill. So just being willing to take the feedback, and I also say, "Hey, I am not the be all end all. I am not in a place where I'm currently hiring early career designers." So my feedback comes from I was an instructor and I've been mentoring early career designers for like 6 years at this point. So mine is just one opinion. Someone else, especially who is at a position to hire you or who is in a position that is similar to someone that would hire you, theirs is going to be more valuable. So seek out multiple rounds of feedback before you make any changes, unless it's something like it's the spelling on this. Otherwise, it's just an egregious error. But everything else is pretty flexible. I will say I'm really tired of seeing post-it notes and an affinity diagram. That is the least useful piece of information. I mean, second only to the fake user personas.
Ooh,
Um, but yeah, that one. I know. I'm sure you love that one. But that is, yeah, no one wants to see that. A hiring manager doesn't give a crap about your pictures, whether it's a Miro screenshot or an actual picture where you put stuff up on the wall. I did it too. I'm not kidding. I still have at least one case study where there isn't, in fact, real picture of my post-it notes, but I was doing object-oriented UX and I was making all of the objects and aligning things. It was fun, but nobody wants to see that. They want to know, what did you learn from doing the affinity diagram that made you do the next thing? The affinity diagram is just an output. It's not an outcome.
right. And I think it's a rite of passage to
Yeah.
include that in your portfolio so that you'll learn to not do it later.
It's like your sweet 16. I love it. That's amazing. Right. That is true. You can do it in one, maybe 2 case studies and I'll forgive it. But after that, I'm like, stop. No one cares.
Yeah. Especially if you expect me to see your analysis results in a
Right.
screenshot.
Right. Don't give me a screenshot with a bunch of words in it.
Check out all my interviews with industry leaders on Blatz Chatz.